Who will win?
All right, let's see if y'all can hear me. Yeah, y'all can hear me now. All right, cool, cool. Probably couldn't hear me that whole time. I was probably looking all weird. But hey, welcome to the Smoke Chest. We're ready to get going. You feel me? We got a few things right here. This is one of the little funny things I was watching. This is can 10,000 Conor McGregor defeat a million Kermit? What kind of silliness is this? So it was supposed to be a short. I don't know. It was gonna be silly. But I got a few little things just so we can smoke and chill, you know. Who you got your money on, Kermit or Conor McGregor? Go, Kermit, go. It's a lot of Kermit. Conor McGregor is whopping this fool.
Total Kermit remaining 169,764.
Dang,
Used
Kermit
human
whooped
language,
Conor
scattering
McGregor's
humanity across
ass,
the earth.
bro.
But these three spoke a language
That's
from before that
wild.
scattering.
Oh, whoa. We're not trying to go into that rabbit hole. Not yet. We don't want to mess anybody's brain up. So we're not going into that rabbit hole. Not yet. We're going to go ahead and jump into. We did Mike Tyson yesterday. That was funny. He was beating those big dudes up. That was wild. You gotta check out some of those clips. We did Machiavelli, Stoicism. Did we do Stoicism? I don't know if we did Stoicism. Philosophy of life, Stoicism. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Let's see what else was up. Oh, this is my watch later. Hold on. Let me go to my other playlist.
Voice drops. The linguists identified Proto, Hebrew, Aramaic, Sumerian language.
Hold on, no, we're not going that. We're not going there. That impossible climb was fun. Wow, that was fun. We did that one yesterday too. Let's see. Dwarves were erased from history. Whoa. I was doing some research into that. That's pretty wild. Like short people, you know? And then there were like tall people like giants. And then there was us mids, us normies. It's crazy. My grandma was a little person. My grandpa was a big person. It's crazy. I'm like a medium person. Let's see what else we got in this thing. Dude, they do armored MMA. They do like sword fights and stuff like in an MMA fashion. I was like, what? Yo, I've been training with my long sword for so long. I've been wondering if that was a thing, but it is. That was crazy. You guys gotta check that out if you get a chance. I'll probably play one of those because they were sword fighting each other. Like, matter of fact, we should just watch it. It was like
Fighter number one from Nashua, New Hampshire. It's Evan Ringo.
Evan the Trash Knight Ringo.
Yeah, they be scrapping.
He's looking with a
MMA style with swords, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, they can hear him. I'm not sure. Oh, long sword.
They had a U.S. versus Britain a 16-man fight. It was crazy out in this little arena. I was like, yo, America won. Yo, we're beast.
He times that down every time. Well. The stag. Oh, nice with through. That was awesome. Greg Fisher is absolutely amazing individual. 14 captain of the Colorado Wardens. It's like a Fortnite. Oh, yeah. That was like a Fortnite, one of those dances. I don't play. I just train a lot of kids to play. They're culture. No, you go ahead. Oh, no, go for it. So we got about a little bit more range for Greg Fisher. Years of experience is close to the same, but it goes 7 Ringo. A little more age for Ringo. Greg is a little bit younger, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. Weight's the same, actually.
Colorado.
Fighters to the center of the ring.
So these are American guys.
To introduce the fighters, wearing the yellow and blue tabard, it's Evan Ringo.
Excited to see Evan in here tonight, man, because they're both coming. They were both coming off.
And his opponent, wearing the gray with white trim tabard, it's Greg Fisher.
They're both coming off some losses, right? Both
yes. The fighters agreed to 3
Crazy.
rounds.
You could really get hurt doing
15 seconds. No strikes of weapon to round up opponents. No legal strikes.
Now, these guys got some rules to this fight and stuff, but those swords have sharp tips, but they're dulled on the edges, so they can't, like, cut each other like crazy, you know? But if you hit hard enough with them things, you're going to feel it.
Defend yourself at all times and obey the referee at all times. Fighters do release turns. Then touch tips and back to your corner.
Both amazing longsword fighters. Evan's had the opportunity to fight before Arnold Schwarzenegger at the
Round
World
one.
Classic.
Right. Fighter number 1, are you ready?
That's crazy.
Fighter number 2, are you ready? And who's ready for a long sword pro fight?
This is rare too.
Then start fight.
Ooh, a lot of energy. 2 minutes of longsword fighting is insane. Both high energy. Greg's a tactician, national champion. Nice movement. Ooh, nice kick.
They both went for it at the same time, too.
Oh, yeah.
Nice
job. Excellent movement. Fight, bro. Excellent movement. That kick, cover, kick.
Nice.
Skywalker, man.
Ooh.
Nice kick between. Nice to block. Ringo's very sort of range.
And it was a nice feint, too. He feinted it and then came up with a kick.
No, both of these are some of the best longsword fighters in the nation and almost really the world. Ooh, nice inside kick. Trying to get that trip.
You're quite the longsword fighter yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'll try. But I've actually not been able to do a longsword pro fight before because we don't get a chance to do it very often. So having that mix, that perfect marriage between a duels fight and a pro fight, amazing.
Man, this is a great fight. This is just entertaining.
There's so much energy. Like as you see now, the engine are moving. They're still, ooh, it just makes great sound too. Nice punches.
Feel punch.
Think about the calculation of that.
Yes.
Throw kick and punch when it's still open.
Yeah.
Yep. Know when to let go of your weapon to hit.
Beautiful.
And the defense is arguably almost as important as the offense is.
Oh, 100%. Nice kicks. Evan kind of looked at that and he's like, I see you. All right.
Right now, y'all.
It's just a lot of energy, a lot of long fights. But they're doing great. Still moving up.
They doing it.
Nice punch. Oh,
People
nice
think I'm
answer.
playing.
Nice punch.
There's so much stuff out
The guards
there.
are so tight. People think this. Oh, nice,
Beautiful
nice
high
range.
low.
People don't even know.
I can't tell if Evan's getting tired or if he's just playing or he
I think
Girls
he's
be
playing
doing all
defensive and trying
kinds
to make
of
sure
stuff, too.
he has enough.
That was a clean shot.
I think he's trying to make sure he's saving enough for the. Once again, also former friends, also in there. Sure, get the fight.
clean shot from Greg. That was awesome.
Megan helping out, being awesome. Ellis Williams in
So
Greg's
good.
corner.
Just see the sword play, man.
Yeah. Ooh, see the range. Just step out a little bit. When you see that strike and the punch or kick, you're actually shortening your range because your longsword is your range hardest weapon. So to have that kick or punch, it has to be timed either through angles, movement, or position.
I love what Ringo did there. Greg hit an inside kick and he switched to.
Here, if I
no,
slow
that's
it
awesome.
down,
Yeah,
it's
they
gonna
kept firing.
look
I love that.
Because it looks super
And
fast.
for those of you at
right
home,
now.
they're still wearing anywhere from 40 to 80 pounds of armor. 2, within this range, you're throwing that range you talk about. To now throw a punch right afterwards and not make it be a horrible mistake.
Right.
It's such a high level skill. That's why we don't see a lot of longsword pro fights because
That's
it's
why
such a high level
some of
power.
these, like,
We still have to be safe.
shots,
We think about HEMA, other ones where they point forward. This one, we have to be safe, no points forward ever. So whenever they come back, they're coming right back. They're being safe. Nice chops, still slashing the cuts.
That's right, because you can't just sit there and hold it out and let them run right into it. Because
Nope.
I always get this question all the time. You know, they're like, "Are the weapons real?"
So you can
I'm
see.
like, "No, we have foam weapons. And we're just in there smacking each other side of the head. Yes, they're real."
Yeah.
And then I go, but they're dulled, obviously.
Right.
You know, like we dull
They're
it
real
down. We don't
weapons,
sit there
but they're
sharp and
dull.
fresh for battle.
No, we call it we
Right
call it rebated steel. If you look at any of our MMA or you check out Simply Samurai on Instagram, we've done test cuts with the pumpkin with one of these swords.
Yeah, you
It was
did.
so
I
cut
saw
through.
that. I saw that. on your Instagram.
And you're like, that's a sharp sword. I'm like, that's one of our rebated. That's
one.
not our.
Yeah.
That's not a sharp sword. It just works.
If there's no such thing as a dumb question.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Round number 2. Fighter number 1, are you ready? Fighter number 2, are you ready? And Winston-Salem, who's ready for some more action? Then start fight.
That's me. It's my alarm
Okay.
for 5:30 for some reason. There we go.
Nice the energy to that back.
Just that back and forth, man.
This is slowed down a little bit.
Nice
nice
teeth.
teeth.
Beautiful
Nice double
setup.
tap. Nice punch.
I
Nice
like-
move
They're not
inside.
playing.
I like Greg's
Oh.
attempt with that shovel hook. That was nice.
It's really cool. Ringo's trying to catch it up, but he's now chasing it. As you can see now, Greg's trying to see will that make him bite on it by doing this winding. Oh, nice cross guard.
Nice. Beautiful.
And he's got to be really careful on that so you don't get the queons because you don't want the queons to actually strike.
And why is that?
Because that's what can go through the grill, right? So that's what's dangerous about it. But he's hitting perfectly with the pommel. Nice little tapes. Trying to get range. He's trying to get close with those vines. Ooh, nice
dodge.
slip.
That's a head move I was talking about with Ringo, brother.
It's so strong, so good. Nice
Good
side
kick.
kick.
I like Greg's. That almost went right under his stomach.
I know, that's why it's scary. Long sword, there's a lot of things that happen.
Ooh, nice left hand too.
Yeah, Greg's been doing a really good job slipping those punches in there.
I'm gonna help Megan with the door on the second one since she has no one else.
Ivan seems to be getting a little bit tired to me.
He does. His
Beautiful
gas tank
shot.
is not as deep as others, but he burns hot.
Yeah.
And then he gets conservative.
Nice
nice
inside leg kick. I'm loving Greg's placement of his strike.
This is a great fight. Honestly, a textbook long sword match. Now he's just trying to reserve. He's trying to move his next position. Nice back kick.
That spinning back kick.
One hand sword strike. Looking good.
And the
These
grit,
guys are
too.
really
The grit
swinging
streak
them
you have to
swords.
train
It's a lot.
to hold that for
Wow.
that long. And the beating, because you're
I can't
about
believe
getting
this
those
is a
vibrations every time you're taking a shot.
I might have to finish getting my armor.
Nice. And there's that stop fight.
With an arm failure, he'll have 10 seconds to prepare. 1 minute to prepare.
And we're seeing a lot of good technical sword play through this entire thing. I'm really liking what we're seeing. It's very good footwork. It's very good sword play. I'm loving the strikes Greg Fisher's delivering, and that's probably why his gauntlet's a little weird.
Very
Big
chill.
fire in the hand at one time.
His first armor failure. There's 10 seconds left.
We just have a smoke Sesh chilling.
As we close
Yeah.
into the end of
Vitamin
the fight,
got him.
both guys letting it go.
Loving that aggression.
Ivan and Greg swinging
And somebody,
as the fight comes to a close.
Nice job. Both of those guys did a fantastic job.
Tremendous.
Here comes that instant replay. Let's see what we got. Had that little teeth there from Ringo. Have a nice little shot from Greg. I think this is where we start seeing them. Greg just placing those strikes very strategically.
Ooh.
And here's that what you're talking
Hell
about.
Yeah, that's why
cross
so you have to
guard.
be careful to make sure you don't get in the wolfers, but he was hitting with the pommel, which is it's legal. It's just once again high level technique.
It's very well timed. Very well timed. This is the best I've seen Greg look in the last couple fights.
Yeah,
He's been
it
working
looks
on a
very
lot
good.
of stuff. We had a tournament recently, the Winding Sword Cup, where he was fighting Chris Center, and he had to really work on his pro fight techniques. And he took a loss actually in that one. He came back stronger now.
Very vast improvement. That's coming off a loss is something not everybody can do.
No. Nice turn, kicks. Nice dips, nice head movements.
Ooh. Busting them. Ooh.
And this is
Whipping.
something I have to think about future when we talk about longsword, where you have those strikes and it's almost like a peekaboo after between. They're sneaking in
Yeah, it's
either
sneaking in.
overhook. And to do that after you strike, and then make sure you still have the power, because if you pull your hand off too much, you're going to lose all the power to make it short.
And you can drop
So-
your weapon.
Not something I see a whole lot.
They're doing a great job of that, of sitting there timing that pristine strike. And it's not just a little tap. It's enough power in it to make a difference, but it's fast enough. I'm loving the speed of delivering those strikes. Greg was doing a good job of hitting Ringo with one, and then Ringo was doing a good job of retaliating, but he's just a
I'm
half
wondering
second
why they
slow.
don't use the mason.
Greg seeing it just in time. All right.
Final round.
Round
Fighter number 1, are you ready? Fighter number 2, are you ready?
I'm just wondering why they're not using maces. Because those are the best ones. I'm going to see if they got some mace fights. Dang.
Greg's shoulders is breathing heavy.
Crazy.
More excited.
Smacking each other with the hammer.
Nice round. Nice
Ooh,
teep.
nice
There's that
teep
beautiful
there.
teep. That's been landing for Ringo. He's good at stinking those inside leg kicks too.
Ooh.
Very good kick from Greg. Dirty.
Oh.
Very nice.
Those hurt.
Watch out. Watch out.
He's trying to sneak it out. Ringo said, I want to take down. Oh, nice slip move. Oh, he almost went
Ooh, with
down.
the knee. Ooh, you getting bullied.
Ringo's tired. He's like, all right, you got me on that one.
He said, ding. That was a solid punch. Greg's landed with that left hand.
I've seen Greg do this before, though. I think he's starting to be like shark, like blood in the water. He's going to just start ramping up. He's just going to keep on going.
Yeah, I think it's going to start. We got approaching about a minute left in this fight almost. He's just landing. That left hand is beautiful.
Absolutely amazing.
When he throws with the right and then left with the left.
Ringo's tired.
Ringo's guys.
I like you said, he's in his first spot.
He comes out with such good intensity. He keeps that for a very long time.
He's not just stopping. He's people do this. They stay back forever. He's trying to work on things. He's thinking about it. It's like a video game. You have an energy bar. You can't just keep on spamming. Right. But Greg is so good at dueling. He's just working. And those angles, Greg needs to, or not Greg, Ringo needs to switch. Ooh,
Go.
Both boys. They got about 30 seconds coming up left in the fight.
Hard shot.
Ooh, Black is going.
Nice one.
They're saying, do it again.
This is absolutely amazing.
Hey, Stormy, how you doing?
Shows them their champion.
Yep. Good job, both gentlemen.
I just looked at the chat right now. Look at that. Hey, crap sauce. Go. Yeah, kicked his ass.
They did a great job. Awesome job. Man, both warriors. That was fantastic, man. Let's see this replay.
So what do you think, Stormy? Do you like this one? Armored MMA.
That's not scripted. That's a gentleman or ladies agreement. It's like, hey, we had a good fight. Let's duke it out.
I'm thinking about it.
There's that hard left that he's been landing.
That looks fun.
He did a great job with that.
That looks fun.
Once in the New Hampshire area, up in that area, they started together. They started doing fights in the beginning.
Slapping each other around.
They've known each other for a long time.
After 3 rounds, your winner is.
Let's see what else do we got in and out.
Beautiful performance, a beautiful showmanship.
Ooh, let's try this.
I was raised like most people, taught that taxation is simply the price of civilization. Roads, courts, armies, the social contract. You pay your share. That's the deal. That's always been the deal. Except it has. I was raised like most people, taught that taxation is simply the price of civilization. Roads, courts, armies, the social contract. You pay your share. That's the deal. That's always been the deal. Except it hasn't. The deeper I looked, the more that assumption, that bedrock certainty, began to dissolve. Not slowly, not gradually, but all at once, the way a reflection breaks when you throw a stone into still water. Here is the fact that started everything. One sentence buried in a footnote of a 1911 congressional debate transcript I found in a university archive, digitized almost as an afterthought. The American citizen has never in the history of this republic been compelled to surrender a portion of his labor directly to the federal government.
Wait, what?
Think about that. Not a fringe pamphlet, not a conspiracy document, a congressional record, official, entered into the legislative history of the United States of America. And then, 2 years later, everything changed.
Wow. So we didn't have to pay taxes. Huh.
16th Amendment was ratified in February 1913. By October of that same year, Americans filed their first federal income tax returns. Not hundreds of years of taxation, not gradual evolving policy, a single year, a single amendment, a single pivot point in history, after which the entire relationship between a citizen and their government transformed permanently.
See? And this is the stuff they don't want to talk about. See what I'm talking about? This right here, Stormy.
And here's the strangest part. Nobody seemed to ask why. Let me take you back. Not to 19...
Now, I always was asking why I had to pay taxes. And I always got yelled at for asking about it.
13. Further. To the world your great-great-grandparents actually inhabited. For most of recorded American history, from the founding through the early 20th century, the federal government operated primarily on tariffs, import duties, excise taxes on specific goods, alcohol, tobacco, sometimes luxury items. These were taxes on transactions, on commerce, not on the labor of individual citizens, not on what you earned, not on the time you spent building your life. The distinction matters more than it sounds. A tariff touches you when you choose to buy something from abroad. An excise tax touches you when you choose to purchase a taxed good. But an income tax touches you simply for existing as a productive person. It reaches into the transaction between you and your employer, or between you and your land, your craft, your skill, and says, before you can call this yours, we take a portion. That had never happened before. Not at the federal level, not in peacetime. There was a brief income tax during the Civil War. Brief. It was repealed in 1872. Then the Supreme Court struck down another attempt in 1895, ruling it unconstitutional in Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company. The legal reasoning was clear. A direct tax on income unapportioned among the states violated the Constitution. The official explanation of how we moved from that ruling to a ratified constitutional amendment in under 2 decades is presented to us as simple democratic evolution. The progressives wanted it, the people supported it, it passed, end of story. But the official explanation collapses here, because when you examine who actually supported the 16th Amendment, when you look not at the rhetoric, but at the funding, the lobbying, the back-channel communications now available in historical archives, the picture becomes considerably more complicated. Ask yourself a simple question. Who benefits when the government gains a permanent, elastic, expandable claim on individual income? Not the farmer in Ohio, not the craftsman in Pennsylvania, not the miner in Colorado. When you follow the institutional support for the income tax amendment through the congressional record, you find something interesting. The most vocal advocates were not the poor, for whom the tax was supposedly designed as a tool of redistribution. They were the architects of large financial institutions, men who understood, perhaps better than anyone, that a government empowered to tax income is also a government empowered to borrow against future tax revenue, to grow, to spend, to expand its financial obligations. And in that same year, 1913, something else happened. The Federal Reserve Act was signed into law in December. The pattern repeats with unsettling precision. 2 transformative pieces of financial legislation. Same year, one giving the government unlimited access to citizen income,
All right, so I have to run this real quick for purposes and no copyright intended.
the other creating a centralized banking system capable of managing the government's debt. Not coincidence, not timing, not bureaucratic accident, a coordinated architecture. This raises a simple but critical question. What kind of federal government, what kind of system requires both simultaneously? What expansion of scope and function demands that a government simultaneously gain the ability to tax income and create a central bank to manage debt in the same calendar year? That's not fiscal policy, that's infrastructure for something new, for something larger than what existed before. Consider the speed. In 1912, there is no federal income tax enforcement apparatus, no auditors, no investigators with federal criminal authority, no agency empowered to seize your wages, your bank accounts, your property. None of it exists because none of it is needed. The infrastructure matches the law, zero tax, zero enforcement machine.
Now, taxes. This is a fairly new concept. It just got implemented in the 1900s.
By 1919, 6 years later, the Bureau of Internal Revenue employs thousands. It has regional offices in cities across the country. It has an intelligence division, a special agents unit with prosecutorial referral authority. Physical buildings, purpose-built or commandeered, operating in coordinated networks from Boston to San Francisco. Ask yourself, how does that happen in 6 years? Not decades of gradual institutional evolution, not slow bureaucratic accumulation,
This
not
stuff
the
they
organic
don't want
growth
you
of a
to ask
government
about.
agency finding
They
its
don't
footing.
want you asking.
6
They
years,
don't want you
from
knowing.
nothing to a nationally coordinated enforcement empire with investigators, auditors, criminal referral authority, and the architectural footprint to house all of it simultaneously. The deeper I went into the physical record, the actual buildings, the early internal memoranda, the staffing documents now available through the National Archives, the more the timeline becomes genuinely difficult to explain. Field offices appeared in cities that had no particular tax base justifying their scale. Training manuals for special agents were printed and distributed before the ink on enabling legislation had fully dried. The apparatus preceded the need, or matched it with a precision that suggests the need was anticipated far earlier than the public record acknowledges. The official explanation is wartime expansion, progressive era
Wartime
institutional
expansion.
confidence, the natural machinery of a modernizing state. But institutional architecture doesn't materialize fully formed. It gets designed, it gets planned. Someone drew the org chart before the amendment passed. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The enforcement machine wasn't built to serve the tax. The tax was the justification for building the machine. I spent weeks in archive rooms, the smell of old paper, the fragility of documents that were never meant to survive this long, the handwritten margin notes of men who believed they were writing for themselves and not for posterity. What I found was not a single smoking gun. It never is. It's always a pattern. It's always accumulation.
We gotta read
The congressional
between the
debates leading
lines.
up to the 16th Amendment are remarkable for what they don't discuss. There is almost no extended debate about what happens after the amendment, almost no projection of where rates might go, almost no serious discussion of enforcement mechanisms, of penalties, of what willful failure to file might mean in practice.
See, now they're trying to figure out a way to enforce consequence.
Why? Because in 1913, the top marginal rate was 7%, on incomes over $500,000. The vast majority of Americans paid nothing at all. The tax, as initially presented, was almost symbolic, a gesture, a precedent, not a permanent restructuring of the relationship between citizen and state, just a small, reasonable measure. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The same architecture appears again and again throughout history. A new power is introduced at its most modest, least threatening scale, a small tax, a temporary measure, an emergency provision. And then, gradually, then suddenly, It expands to fill whatever space is available. By 1944, the top marginal income tax rate in the United States was 94%.
Ooh,
94%.
ooh.
The evidence suggests something much larger was at work than a simple progressive tax reform. The initial rates weren't the point. The mechanism was the point, the precedent, the constitutional permission. The
94%.
crime wasn't what they took in 1913. The crime was what they made possible. Here is where it gets genuinely unsettling. There is an entire world of pre-1913 American economic life that has been, if not erased exactly, then allowed to fade. Let me describe it for you. Your great-grandparents, assuming they were working class or middle class Americans in the late 19th century, kept everything they earned, minus whatever they chose to spend on tariffed goods. A skilled tradesman in 1890 negotiated his wage with an employer, received that wage, and it was his. Entirely. No withholding, no filing, no April deadline. Homesteaders worked land they could claim under the Homestead Act, 160 acres, essentially free in exchange for improving it. The transaction between a man and his land produced no federal liability. None. Small merchants, craftsmen, farmers, the entire economic ecosystem of pre-industrial and early industrial America operated in a fundamentally different relationship to government. Local taxes existed, property taxes, state levies, but the direct federal claim on individual productive labor, absent, by design, constitutional prohibition. The deeper I went, the more I noticed the silence around this fact. It doesn't appear prominently in economics textbooks. It isn't framed as a loss in the standard history curriculum. The pre-1913 world is simply presented as primitive, underfunded, unstable, as if the income tax were medicine for a sick patient, rather than a transformation of a healthy one. Not context, not comparison, not honest acknowledgement of what was surrendered, just silence. Smooth, institutional, well-maintained silence. The silence was deafening. And then they made it a crime. That phrase bears sitting with. Think about what it means. Before 1913, there was no such thing as failure to file. There was no federal crime called tax evasion at the personal income level because there was no personal income tax to evade. The category of criminality simply did not exist. You could not be prosecuted for something that wasn't required. After 1913, a new class of criminal was invented. Not someone who had harmed another person, not someone who had defrauded a specific victim, but someone who had simply failed to accurately report and surrender.
Wow. So now it's a crime. Now it's a crime if we don't give them a piece of our money. Crazy.
A portion of their own labor to a centralized authority. This is not a trivial observation. Criminality defines the boundaries of a society. What a civilization chooses to prosecute tells you everything about what that civilization is actually protecting. And here's the strangest part. The criminalization didn't happen all at once. It crept. The revenue acts of the 1910s and 1920s quietly expanded penalties. The tax code grew. Withholding, automatic deduction from wages before the worker ever touches the money, wasn't even introduced until 1943. Before that, you still paid annually. You still saw the money first. Withholding changed something psychological. It changed what felt normal. Once the money was removed before you received your paycheck, you stopped thinking of it as yours being taken. You started thinking of your net pay as your pay. The gross became abstract, theoretical, a number on a form rather than money in your hand, not subtraction. Redefinition. The evidence suggests this was understood, because the architects of the modern withholding system, introduced notably during wartime when questioning such measures could be framed as unpatriotic, were sophisticated people. Treasury economists, policy designers. They understood behavioral economics before behavioral economics had a name, as if they were following instructions they didn't fully understand, or perhaps instructions they understood perfectly. And here is where the mystery deepens in a way I find impossible to dismiss. The income tax is not an American invention. The British introduced a formal income tax in 1799, temporary for the Napoleonic Wars, then abolished it, reintroduced it in 1842, and made it permanent. Germany built its income tax infrastructure in the 1870s and 1880s. France debated and eventually implemented it in the early 20th century. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all within a roughly similar historical window. Different governments, different political systems, different languages, cultures, legal traditions, and yet the same mechanism spreading across the industrialized world within the same century. The same basic architecture. Individual income reported, calculated, surrendered, enforced criminally. This raises a simple but critical question. What explains that uniformity? You might say modernization. Industrialization created wage labor at scale, which created a taxable income stream that simply hadn't existed when most people were subsistence farmers or craftsmen. Fine, that's a reasonable explanation. But it doesn't explain the timing. It doesn't explain why the mechanisms appear in such similar forms with such similar enforcement structures in countries that were often geopolitical rivals. It doesn't explain why the criminalization follows such a consistent pattern. First the tax, then the bureaucracy, then the penalty structure, then the normalization. The pattern repeats with unsettling precision across borders that were otherwise entirely hostile to coordination. Not parallel evolution, not coincidence, not the natural drift of policy ideas. Something more deliberate, something that appears in the documentary record not to have been publicly debated as a global project, and yet somehow arrived at globally similar conclusions. I'm not telling you what that means. I'm asking you to sit with what it implies. Let me describe what I think we've forgotten. Not just the money, though the money is real and the accumulated total surrendered by ordinary families across 5 generations is staggering if you try to calculate it. But the money isn't the deepest loss. The deepest loss is a concept, the concept that what you produce belongs to you, that the labor of your hands, your mind, your time, irreplaceable, non-renewable human time, is yours by a prior claim that precedes any government's claim. That was the assumption built into the original constitutional architecture, not explicitly stated, assumed. The way you don't write down that the sky is blue because everyone can see it, that assumption is now gone, replaced. The new assumption, so thoroughly normalized that stating the old one sounds radical, is that your income belongs first to the state, which then permits you to keep a portion. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The pre-1913 world didn't have perfect freedom. It had slavery, it had robber barons, it had crushing poverty for many. I'm not romanticizing it, but it contained, embedded in its legal structure, a recognition that the individual's productive output had a protected status.
All right, he's saying a whole lot right.
That recognition is now a historical artifact. We didn't lose it in a war. We didn't lose it in a revolution. We surrendered it in a tax bill, incrementally, quietly, with rates so low at first that no one felt it as the permanent transformation it was. I keep returning to that congressional record, that single line. The American citizen has never in the history of this republic been compelled to surrender a portion of his labor directly to the federal government. Written in 1911, 2 years before everything changed, the man who wrote it, a congressman from a Midwestern state now largely forgotten, was making a legal argument against the amendment. He lost. His argument was entered into the record, archived, and left to yellow in a basement for a century until a digitization project pulled it back into the light. He understood what was being built. He saw the architecture for what it was. Did the people who built it understand it too? Did they know they were not merely crafting tax policy, but redesigning the foundational relationship between citizens and the institutions that govern them? Did they anticipate that within 30 years, automatic withholding would make the transaction invisible? Did they foresee the enforcement apparatus, the criminal penalties, the cultural normalization so complete that questioning the income tax would eventually sound like questioning gravity? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But here's what I do know. Your ancestors, not ancient ancestors, not medieval serfs, but your great-grandparents, people whose photographs exist, whose letters survive, whose voices were recorded on early cylinders, lived in a world where keeping what you earned was not a radical proposition. It was just Tuesday. That world ended, officially, legally, constitutionally, in 1913, in 1 year, with one amendment, and then they made it a crime to live as your ancestors had lived. Not an accident, not an oversight, not a necessary evolution, a deliberate architectural decision. The question is not whether it happened. The documents confirm that it did. The question, the one I can't stop asking, the one that keeps me returning to these archives, these transcripts, these forgotten margin notes from men who saw it coming, is simple. Who decided? And when they decided, what exactly did they believe they were building? Because whatever they were building, we are still living inside it. And most of us have never once questioned the walls.
All right. That's some deep stuff right there. That is some deep stuff right there. Now, the thing about that one specifically, that one is a good one.
I was raised like most people, taught that
All right.
taxation is simply the price of civilization.
All right, so taxation, taxes. I always wondered why I had to pay taxes, sales tax, and things like that. Because I would go to the store with the dollar store, and you could buy things for $1 back in the day. And then one day, I didn't have. It was $1. It was $1.01, and I didn't have 1 cent, so they wouldn't let me have it. It was crazy, like over a penny, bro. I was, this taxation thing is crazy. 'Cause this is how I was raised too.
Roads, courts, armies, the social contract.
The social contract. And this is what he's talking about. Everything we're going through, these are all social contracts. And we're agreeing to it. Whether it's right or wrong, we're agreeing to it. Because most people feel like it is beneficial to the majority.
Pay your share. That's the deal. That's
See, pay your share, right?
always been the deal, except it hasn't.
Now, it hasn't always been the deal, but we know that. And he was over here talking about
It's your skill, and says, before you can call this yours, we take a portion.
right here. Before we can say it's ours, they want to take a portion. Okay? This right here, this is something I never understood. And I don't think anybody could explain it to me. They could give me reasons like, oh, the military, this, that, and the other. But if I donated it, it would do the same thing. See what I'm saying? But nah, they don't want to do that. They don't want to have to ask me. They don't want to have to be held accountable.
That had never happened before. Not at the federal level, not in peacetime. There was a brief income tax during the Civil War. Brief. It was
During a war, during the Civil War.
repealed in 1872. Then the Supreme Court struck down another attempt in 1895, ruling it unconstitutional in Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company.
So it's unconstitutional for them to try to tax him federally. Now, the state, that's where you live, the roads, things like that. I can understand maintaining your area. That's a little bit different, but there's so much nuance.
The legal reasoning was clear. A direct tax on income unapportioned among the states violated the Constitution. The official explanation of how we moved from that ruling to a ratified constitutional amendment in under 2 decades is presented to us as simple democratic evolution. The progressives wanted it, the people supported it, it passed, end of story. But the official explanation collapses here, because when you examine who actually supported the 16th Amendment, when you look not at the rhetoric, but at the funding, the lobbying, the back.
The funding and the lobbying. And that's the same trap we're in right now. Anyways, let's find something else to look at. PBD podcast is pretty dope. I don't got permission yet, so I don't want to be reviewing PBD without permission because that's like respect off of PBD. Let me see. The Renaissance was pretty crazy. All these water fountains. This was wild. This is wild right here. I remember hearing about water.
I wasn't looking for a mystery when I first noticed the fountains. It started with a photograph, one of those sepia-toned images from the 1890s, showing a grand public drinking fountain in San Francisco. Ornate, classical, built like a monument rather than a utility. The kind of structure you'd expect to find in front of a palace, not on a random street corner, offering free water to anyone who walked by. And that's where things began to unravel. Because once I started looking for these fountains, I found them everywhere. Not just in San Francisco, not just in America, everywhere. Paris, London, Melbourne, Buenos Aires, Istanbul, Calcutta, city after city, continent after continent, all featuring these elaborate public drinking fountains that appeared seemingly overnight in the mid to late 1800s and then vanished just as quickly. The deeper I looked, the less sense the official story made. Let me show you what I found. Between roughly 1850 and 1900, thousands upon thousands of ornate public drinking fountains appeared in cities across the world. These weren't simple spigots or basic wells. These were architectural statements, carved granite, bronze fixtures, multiple basins at different heights, one for humans, one for horses, one for dogs, artistic flourishes that served no functional purpose. Latin inscriptions, classical columns, some towered 15, 20 feet high. The craftsmanship was extraordinary. Intricate metalwork, perfectly fitted stonework, hydraulic systems that required precision engineering, each one unique, yet somehow adhering to similar aesthetic principles. And they were free. This raises a simple but critical question. Who paid for all this?
Wow.
The official explanation is that wealthy philanthropists funded these fountains as acts of charity. That groups like the Metropolitan Drinking Fountain and Cattle
Free water fountains is unheard of. Free drinking water fountains, like really free. I'm talking about legit, where it's fresh water being alkalized by the atmosphere when it goes spraying up in the air and it comes down. Because it separates from all the other particles. Man, waterfalls. Those things are amazing. A lot of people don't know waterfalls are a purification process. All the falling and rising and tumbling the water does, it breaks those water molecules free from all the debris. That's why there's a lot of rain in those areas, because all those water molecules break up and they fly up into the air, turn it to a beautiful mist. That's why you get to see rainbows a lot around those waterfalls, because that's the water being purified on the way up. See, we got to remember that condensation, precipitation, the whole, what is it? The water cycle. We have to remember that it has a context to our reality. The water, especially groundwater, it goes through channels and it goes through all these little, um, all the little stuff, and then it goes to the hard stuff, right? And then when it gets seeps into those cracks, there's less sediment because it all got caught. So it's like pure water dripping. That's why we get the reservoirs. It's the same principle. So as above, so below. It purifies when it goes down, it purifies when it goes up. All the dirty stuff is in the middle. Now look at us.
Association in London, or similar organisations in other cities, commissioned these elaborate structures out of concern for public health and animal welfare. But the official explanation collapses here. Because we're not talking about dozens of fountains, we're talking about thousands. In London alone, more than 800 fountains appeared between 1859 and 1879. 20 years, 40 fountains per year, on average. And that's just one city. Multiply that across New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, then Paris, Berlin, Vienna, Rome, then Melbourne, Sydney, Cape Town, Bombay. The numbers become staggering. Tens of thousands of these elaborate structures, all built within a 50-year window, all funded supposedly by charitable donations, all requiring skilled craftsmen and engineers, all appearing in cities that were supposedly just beginning to figure out modern water infrastructure. The coordination problem becomes impossible to ignore. Here's where it gets stranger. These fountains required water systems, not simple wells, pressurized municipal water supplies, pipes, pumps, reservoirs, filtration. The very infrastructure we're told was still being developed during this period. I found photographs of drinking fountains in remote territories, mining towns in Nevada, frontier settlements in Australia, colonial outposts in India, places that officially didn't even have proper roads, yet somehow had functioning public water fountains with constant flow, serving free fresh water to anyone who needed it. How? Not why, not when, not under which municipal authority, but how? How did the infrastructure get there? Where are the records of who built the water mains, who maintained the pressure systems, who ensured water quality, who paid for the constant operation? The documentation is remarkably sparse. What we have instead are photographs, thousands of photographs showing these fountains fully operational, surrounded by people using them as if they'd always been there. No construction photos, no ribbon cutting ceremonies. For most of them. No detailed municipal records of planning commissions or engineering surveys, they just appear in the historical record already functioning. And that's the first impossibility. But there's a second one that's even more troubling. Why water? I mean that literally. Why did this supposed golden age of philanthropic giving focus so intensely on providing free public water? We're told it was about public health, about preventing disease, about temperance, offering water as an alternative to alcohol. But the timeline doesn't support this. These fountains appeared before germ theory was widely accepted, before modern epidemiology, before most cities had any real understanding of waterborne disease. Yet
This is crazy. This is wild. How? How is all of this even possible? Like, why would we destroy something like this? If we have water, free water, clean water everywhere, like, why would we get rid of that? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense, especially if our technology is so far beyond what it is now, if that's the case.
someone invested massive resources in creating a world-spanning network of free water distribution points decades.
Look at this. Look at that. If we had that, oh man, come on, man. Wow.
Before the scientific justification existed.
Money.
How did they know? More importantly, what did they know about water that we've forgotten? Because these weren't just distribution points. The fountains themselves often featured mysterious design elements, specific mineral compositions in the stone, particular metal alloys in the fixtures, unusual basin shapes that seemed to serve no obvious purpose. I found references in old texts to water from certain fountains having restorative properties or particular virtues. Not mystical claims, pragmatic observations. People preferred water from specific fountains and cities maintained their reputations. Was the water itself different? Was there something about the materials used in these fountains that affected water?
Ooh. So different places had different water frequencies. Because remember, water holds memory. We can store data in water. And we even have water in ourselves. So we can we can store the memories and imprints from our ancestors, and then we can pass those things down to our predecessors, which is interesting. That's a very interesting combination. Let's go.
Water quality in ways we no longer understand. The deeper I looked, the more I realized we don't know. The knowledge was lost when the fountains were destroyed, and maybe that was the point. If you've enjoyed this investigation so far, consider subscribing. These patterns don't reveal themselves easily, and there's much more to uncover. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw one of these fountains? Not a modern drinking fountain, those sterile stainless steel things bolted to walls in schools and airports. I mean one of the old ones, the grand public monuments to free water. They're gone. Almost all of them. Thousands upon thousands of elaborate structures built to last centuries vanished within a generation. The official explanation is that they were removed due to hygiene concerns, or because municipal water systems made them obsolete, or because automobiles replaced horses and made the animal basins unnecessary. But this explanation breaks down when you examine the timeline. These fountains didn't gradually disappear over decades as cities modernized. They vanished rapidly, often between 1910 and 1930. Cities that had maintained hundreds of functioning fountains for 50 years suddenly tore them all out within a few years. Why the hurry? And here's the strangest part. There's almost no public record of the removal process. No major newspaper campaigns, no civic debates about whether to preserve these landmarks, no historical societies fighting to save them. These massive public works projects were dismantled and hauled away, and contemporary sources barely mention it. It's as if an entire category of public infrastructure was deliberately erased from the urban landscape, and everyone just accepted it. The deeper I went, the more this pattern of organized forgetting revealed itself. I need to take you back to the fountains themselves, because there's something about them that doesn't fit with what we're told about this era. The late 1800s, we're told, was a period of rapid industrialization, mass production, standardization.
All right. So this is the part that trips me out. If we're supposed to be industrial, and we're supposed to be industrializing, and we're supposed to be putting forth the best technology and trying to do the good for all the people, why not invest more into these kind of fountains and do more with it? Why not embrace that technology if there was something that was giving more to society so there was less to worry about? But maybe that would incite free thinking, because maybe they don't want us to think free and live freer. Why would they want us to live freer? That might hurt their agenda. That might hurt how they feel more important than other people.
The whole point of the Industrial Revolution was efficiency, making things faster, cheaper, more uniformly. But these fountains weren't mass-produced. Each one was bespoke, custom carved, individual designs. I found fountains featuring classical mythology, Neptune, water nymphs, dolphins. I found Gothic designs with gargoyles and pointed arches. I found Egyptian motifs, complete with hieroglyphics. I found Byzantine patterns, Moorish tilework, Celtic knotwork. This represents an enormous diversity of skilled craftsmanship. Where did all these stonemasons come from? Where were they trained? How did cities across the world simultaneously have access to artisans capable of carving 15-foot granite monuments? The evidence suggests something much larger, because we're not just talking about artistic skill, we're talking about technical knowledge. These fountains had to handle water pressure. They needed freeze-proof designs in cold climates. They required drainage systems. The metalwork had to resist corrosion. The stone had to be properly sealed. This required engineering expertise applied at an architectural level, repeated thousands of times across continents by different craftsmen who somehow all understood the same principles. Not coincidence, not parallel development, but coordinated knowledge. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what sent me down this path completely. I started mapping the fountains. Using old city directories, historical photographs, and archived municipal documents, I plotted where these fountains stood. And the pattern that emerged was impossible to dismiss. The fountains weren't randomly distributed. They followed precise geometric patterns, specific intervals, almost as if someone had planned the entire network before any single fountain was built. In London, they formed concentric circles radiating from certain central points. In Paris, they aligned along sight lines, connecting major landmarks. In New York, they appeared at regular intervals that didn't correspond to city blocks or property lines, but to something else, something I couldn't identify. This raises uncomfortable questions. If each fountain was supposedly the independent gift of individual philanthropists, why did they collectively form coherent geometric patterns? How did donors coordinate to fill in gaps in the network? Why would they bother? The official explanation, that these were ad hoc acts of charity, simply cannot account for the organized distribution pattern. It suggests planning, central coordination, a unified system. And that system appears to have served every city on Earth all at once before vanishing completely. This is where the mystery becomes genuinely unsettling. I started asking people about these fountains, historians, urban planners, architecture professors, municipal engineers, people who should know about significant public infrastructure in their cities. Almost no one did. And when I showed them the evidence, the photographs, the old maps, the archived records, I got the same response over and over. Huh, I never knew that. How is that possible? How does an entire category of public monument, thousands of structures that stood in cities for 50 years, used daily by millions of people, just disappear from collective memory? This wasn't ancient history. These fountains were still standing when our grandparents were children. There should be family stories, institutional memory, historical markers. Instead, silence. The pattern repeats with unsettling precision. City after city, the same gap in the historical record, the same absence of documentation about their removal, the same lack of public discussion about what was lost. It's as if someone wanted us to forget these fountains ever existed. And we did. Here's what kept me up at night: the timing. These fountains didn't just appear randomly across the 1800s. They appeared in a very specific window, roughly 1850 to 1900, 50 years. And that window coincides with something else that's impossible to ignore: the world's fairs. Chicago, 1893, Paris, 1889, Philadelphia, 1876, London, 1851, city after city hosting these massive expositions showcasing new architecture that looked suspiciously old, classical, ornate, the same aesthetic as the fountains. And here's where it gets strange. Many of these fairs featured elaborate water features: fountains, cascades, hydraulic systems that supposedly were temporary installations built in months, then demolished immediately after. But what if they weren't new? What if the fairs were displaying what already existed? What if they were the last showcase of a previous civilization's capabilities before it was all dismantled? The pattern suggests something deliberate. The fountains appear. The fairs happen. Photography becomes widespread, just common enough to document what existed, but not common enough to have documented the construction process. Then, within a generation, it's all torn down. This is the window where Tartaria disappears from maps, where the old world becomes...
They didn't document the construction process.
the new world, where classical architecture gets rebranded as Beaux-Arts revival, instead of what it might actually be: remnants. The fountains appeared right at the moment of transition, right as the old infrastructure was being catalogued and removed, right as a new historical narrative was being established. And photography, that's the key. We have just enough images to know these fountains existed, but not enough to understand where they came from. It's the perfect gap. The evidence was documented just before it was erased, as if someone knew that future generations would ask questions.
Okay. So it's like they captured the information, they studied it, they documented the technology, how it works, how to utilize it, and then they destroyed it. They destroyed it. That sounds just like the game plan they've been using on this whole time. That's the tricky part. The evidence. The evidence is clear that they have a track record of doing things like this. Finding technology or having technology and then destroying it, all of a sudden it's gone. Oops, we don't know what you're talking about.
And wanted to make sure there'd be just enough proof to haunt us, but never enough to prove anything. Once you see the timing, you can't unsee it. The evidence points to several inescapable conclusions. First, someone built a global water infrastructure network in the mid-1800s that was far more advanced and far more coordinated than official history acknowledges. Second, this network required technical knowledge, engineering expertise, and organizational capacity that shouldn't have existed in that era, not at that scale, not with that precision. Third, the system was deliberately dismantled and its history was deliberately obscured, not lost, not forgotten through neglect, actively erased. Why? What were these fountains really for? What did they do besides provide water? What knowledge did they represent that had to be removed from public access? And who coordinated both their creation and their destruction? I keep coming back to one detail that haunts me. In the photographs of these fountains, you often see the same thing: children. Dozens of photographs showing children gathered around the fountains, filling cups, playing in the spray, drinking freely. These structures were clearly beloved. They were woven into daily life. They served a real function that people valued. And then they were taken away, and we all forgot they ever existed. What else have we forgotten? What other infrastructure existed that we no longer recognize? What other capabilities did our cities once have that have been erased from the record? Because the fountains are just what's visible in photographs. What didn't get photographed? What was so ordinary, so ubiquitous that no one thought to document it before it vanished? The official explanation collapses here. We're supposed to believe that our civilization has been on a steady upward trajectory, that everything keeps getting better, more advanced, more sophisticated. But what if that's not true? What if we've lost things? Important things? What if the Victorian era had access to knowledge and capability?
See, this part right here, this is one of the things that we have to realize when people want to try to lie. They can manipulate what happened between you and them. They can manipulate that later when talking to somebody else. And now it's your word versus their word. But that person heard it from them first, so you're automatically branded as a liar, especially if they already have rapport with each other.
That we don't have anymore. The fountains suggest yes. I don't have definitive answers. I don't know exactly who built this network or how they did it or why it was destroyed, but I know the official story doesn't hold water. No pun intended. I know that thousands of elaborate public water fountains representing millions of hours of skilled labor and incalculable amounts of resources appeared across the world in a 50-year window. I know they required infrastructure that supposedly didn't exist yet. I know they followed organized patterns that suggest central planning. I know they were dismantled rapidly and their history was suppressed. And I know that we're not supposed to ask these questions, but I'm asking anyway. Who built Tartaria's drinking fountains? Where did the knowledge come from? What did these structures really do? And most importantly, what else was taken from us when they were destroyed? The fountains are gone. The craftsmen who built them are gone. The infrastructure that fed them is gone. The records are sparse to non-existent, but the photographs remain. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Something was here, something sophisticated, something global, something that provided free, clean water to every city on Earth, housed in monuments built to last forever. And then it was erased. The question isn't whether this happened. The evidence is overwhelming. The question is, what else don't we remember? What other gifts were taken from us while we weren't paying attention? And who benefited from making us forget? I don't expect answers. Not today. Maybe not ever. But I know that every time I walk past a modern drinking fountain, that sad little stainless steel fixture bolted to a wall, I think about what we lost. And I wonder what else is hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to ask the right questions. The fountains are trying to tell us something about lost knowledge, about coordinated erasure.
He said that little stainless steel box bolted to the wall every time I walk past him. That's hilarious.
About a world that was different than we've been told. All we have to do is look. And once we start looking, really looking, at the world our ancestors built and the world we inherited, well, that's when things get interesting.
While Romans were mastering...
All right. So that right there, that's crazy. That's crazy to see how life is.
Woo. Life is crazy, guys. Remember, we don't know what the truth is. That's why when Pius asked Jesus, what is truth? Right? When Jesus said, I come to you bringing the truth. Bringing the truth. What is truth? Okay? We did this yesterday. What's the difference between truth and lie? We went over this. A lot of people don't want to step up. The difference between truth and lies is you believe one or the other. But guess what? They could both be the same. The truth somebody's telling you could be a lie. So it's just twisted and it's back and forth. It's so twisted and back and forth. There's no real way to know what the difference between truth and lie is, except that the truth is what you believe. The lie is what you haven't realized. But yesterday, we were talking about the actual thing that makes them the same. The thing that makes them the same is it's somebody's opinion or somebody's story that they're telling you. It's somebody's word that you have to take. See what I mean? So the truth and the lie are the same, but the difference is which one do you believe, what you believe. That's what determines what a truth and a lie is, because you believe something that's true to you. You can't deny that. That's one of the heavier parts. And it is 11 o'clock my time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this last one out the way, roll this shit, real quick. We're going to get ourselves nice and sleepy, nice and dizzy. We want to be dizzy. So when it's time to lay down, we're going to lay down for good, for lay down time. Get some rest. Because tomorrow's a heavy day. It's another day. We've been working 6 days a week. A lot of people been seeing overtime. Shout out to the people that have been working overtime. The nation doesn't run without us working. The nation needs us. Thank you for being there. Thank you for doing the things you do. A lot of people don't understand how hard it is to work. Shout out to Stormy, the first mod. Stormy, the first one that came through. At the same time, guys, we need to make sure we appreciate the life that we have, the life we've been given, because there's so much we just don't know, and there's so much we cannot learn. There's so much we just won't know, and there's so much we can learn. So if we focus on what we can do to make the other people's lives around us better, this is where we're going to get somewhere. And a lot of people don't even know what getting somewhere looks like because they stuck. They stuck.
In grain storage, Persian engineers were doing something.
lot of people don't want to see change. What is change? Right? Change is doing something that is uncomfortable because you're not used to it. That's change. Now, it doesn't have to be anything bad, doesn't have to be anything negative. But remember, change is what change is supposed to be. Something different that you're not used to. It may even be uncomfortable. But it shouldn't take you through anything you can't survive, even pain. Change can be painful. But the best part about change is it's something new. It's something different. Without new and different, everything would be stuck being the same. There would never be growth. The grass would never fully be green. The fruit would never fully be ripe. Everything has to change. If everything stays stagnant, if we continue to leave ourselves in a broken manner, we're only going to produce broken manner. Because remember, a tree produces fruit. And then some trees produce pollen. But is your pollen good pollen? Or is your fruit bad fruit? How? How do we know? How do we know? It's basically by the taste, by the reaction of the environment around us. When you walk into a room, if people back away from you, there's a reason for it. If people come up to you, there's a reason for it. Okay? So, good fruit and bad fruit. Now, what rooms are you walking into? And how are they reacting at this point? Now we have to play nuance. Now we have to get subjective. A lot of people are using these words wrong and they're not stepping up to the plate where the food is actually put because they don't like the flavor. But guess what? The meal you get ain't always the food you cook. Ooh. And sometimes the food you cook ain't even for you. So you can't have everything all the time because not everything is for you. Most things in this world are against you, though, because most things are for themselves. Because remember, a table is a table for a table's sake. And a table is going to be a table no matter what, because you can go out into nature and you can find something that you can use as a table. It's just sitting there. And you could just set this on right there, or this will sit right there. Because you can sit on a table, you sit things on a table. So isn't a table technically a chair? What? Because we sit on chairs all the time. But then, in hard times, we use chairs for a table. But we be sitting things on it. You can stand on the table, but a table is just a chair with no back. So when people say, don't sit on my table, you could be like, fuck you. Fuck your table. Excuse my language. All right, we're not supposed to be cussing on YouTube. Oh my God. But guess what? I put my stuff for not 18. You cannot, you got to be 18 and older to be on mine. You can't be no kid. So I usually put the age restriction on mine. So hopefully it's still on there. Anyways, back to the subject at hand. So life be lifing, right? But no, seriously. Life be lifing, right? So why are we so upset when it does so? Look, I'm not trying to be mad at nobody. I ain't trying to hurt nobody. You feel me? But at the end of the day, people gonna get hurt sometimes. And you know what? Move, bitch. Get up. Work. You know what I mean? Come on now. There's a song for everything. And if you ain't knowing music, you don't know life. Because people make music about life. At least that's what people do. AI makes music about whatever you tell it to. So that's the difference. Real creation will come from life experience. Real innovation will come from raw thought. And can't an AI can't think better than we could think. An AI can't imagine harder than we can imagine. But if you give an AI parameters and then you say do whatever you want, but you can't take over the world or hurt people, right? It's gonna stay within those parameters. But if you give a human to create art, what is the human gonna do? Whatever in the hell they want. And that art could be anything. It could be the most wicked thing. So you guys gotta be careful with humans. And if AI gets anything like us, it ain't gonna like us, just like we don't like us. You feel me? That's wild. A lot of people ain't really thinking though. They don't want to come into the rabbit hole. But you know what? We got bars for their asses. They ain't ready for this. The business we got, they're not ready for this. It's time to wake up, America. It's time to wake up. Because everybody think I'm crazy. It's cool. I'm the most hated panelist. That's fine. Or am I most misunderstood? Probably misunderstood. Because everybody trying to make it seem like I'm trying to be mean when I'm telling the truth. I'm just supposed to like everything they like. Man, you don't even like the shit you like. You know what I mean? They don't even like the shit they like. They just like it because somebody else like it. They don't really like it though. So how I'm supposed to like some shit you like somebody else like that shit? I'm liking it because they like it now. Who the hell is they? Right? So come on, man. People don't make no sense. People don't make no sense. Hmm. But me, I'm just finna chill. I'm just finna chill. What am I talking about? Bullshit. Just like everybody else. Except I'm not making fun of nobody. I ain't trying to tear nobody down or hurt their feelings or argue with them. I'm gonna listen to what you say, but I'm still finna think what I think and say what I say, so don't get hurt. I'm not asking you to get hurt. I'm asking you to hear me out because I'm hearing you out. You feel me? And a lot of people want to be heard, but they don't want to listen. But I'll listen. Just don't be mad if I don't do what you say. Because if you had heard me, you would have heard me saying what I was gonna do, no matter what you say. Just like other humans do. Most of you guys in the audience probably just gonna do what you want to do anyway, or what you gonna do, and ain't nobody else gonna say nothing about it. I'm with you, brother, sister, brother, sister, auntie, uncle. If my mom watching, if my sister's watching, if my cousin's watching, let them all know. Hey, I got y'all back. But just remember where I'm at on my own too, doing what I want too. Hey, what you gon' do? But that's what we do. It is what it is. And this is why we say these things. This is why we talk the way we talk. We don't talk like other people. And that's why English is so hard to understand because it's confusion. Confusing. All right? A lot of people say the Bible's tainted, right? No, I don't think the Bible's tainted. I think English is tainted. When I say this, we can use good for bad and bad for good. Shorty's so bad, but she's such a good woman. What? That's crazy. You see how we twisted? Americans is twisted. We just dangerous sort. That's what they would call us, a dangerous sort. Don't mess with those Americans. Hey, light them if you got them. Open panel. I dropped it at the dropped it in the chat. You know, all the homies out there, it's time to smoke. We're gonna get to kicking it. We were watching some stuff, so you guys could go back and rewatch that. We don't need to relive the last hour. But deeply, deeply important. Love everybody else because you already love yourself. When I say love everybody else, don't get upset, don't trip out. But you can say your comments in the chat if you want. But don't trip out. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. When I say love everybody else, most people have never been loved. Most people have never been loved. They don't even know what it looks like. So if you have been loved, or if you know what love is, if you love everybody, then everybody will finally feel loved for once. But it's going to take one at a time. I can only reach one person at a time until more people come. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you to donate ever. Never going to tell you to like or subscribe. All of that stuff is up to you, because I don't want to make anybody feel any kind of way, because a lot of the people out there, they do that. So I just want to be chilling. So this is the last time I'm ever finna mention that. If you see it on the screen, that's fine, whatever. But other than that, I'm not gonna talk about that. There's other things to talk about. But if you ever see somebody in need, if you ever see somebody alone or on their own and they're just out there, when I say this, they're like in the same place all the time, always by themselves, you should go try to talk to them. And just, hey, I see you around here a couple times already. You come here a lot. It's all you got to do. Will change somebody's life. And then that person won't be so timid to go to the next person. They'll be able to spot it. Because me, I frequent places. But when I go to those places, I get to know whoever's running the spot. The reason why is because if I know who's running that spot or who works there, now every time I come through, it's like home. And then whoever's there, they go, "Oh, you come here? Huh? Oh yeah, yeah, I'm cool with da da da. Oh yeah, me and Sesh, we cool." Da, da, da." You know what I mean? And now it's opening up conversation so that way the community can feel community again. We need to we need to honor the people in our service industry, because our service industry is the industry that runs our country. Without the plumber, without the electrician, without the guy that washing the dishes, there is no restaurant to go take your shorty to. You feel me? So we gotta actually think. We gotta think about what we're doing with ourselves. Our lives are not meaningless. A lot of people will want us to think so. So if you guys want to type in the chat, talk to me in the chat. I'm working on trying to read it. I'm working on trying to keep looking at it from time to time, so that way I could interact with you guys. But other than that, I'm just gonna preach for a little bit while I smoke. And I'm gonna finish this little drink right here because we just chilling. This is the smoke sesh right here. We don't have to be serious. Um, but no, I'm not a mean person, so I don't do all that mean stuff. Otherwise, welcome to the channel. I appreciate y'all being here. Shout out to Stormy again, our first mod, one of our first, the ride or die from the beginning. All right, so we'll be on every day after work. It's called Blowing Off Steam, the conversation. So when we get off work, all that stuff, all the logistics, the stuff about life, the everyday person things, the situations that come up, whatever, there'll be a topic and things like that as well. So it's at 6:30 Mountain Time, which is usually around 9:30 um, East Coast time, unless you guys are on the daytime savings, and it could be 4 hour difference. So it'll be like 10. But when you guys are 3 hours apart, it's gonna be 9:30. But yeah, that's after work, Monday through Friday, and then we do smoke sesh, and then on the weekends, I'm just chilling. I'm not doing this on the weekends. I'm cool. I'm cool. Other channels will be up. I have fellow channels that I'll be on. I'll pop up there. If you guys see me up there, more than welcome to say hi or whatever. If you guys have friends, always let them know that we be talking about the real stuff over here. We're inside the trenches. We're down here working. You know, people I know are paycheck to paycheck. Me, I'm every paycheck and a half to paycheck and a half. I'm trying to get to every 2 paychecks. Then I'm gonna be every 4 paychecks. You know what I mean? So I don't really need these 3. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get there, but it's a process. It's a constant work on self, a constant work on build, a constant self love, which is why I emphasize on loving others because we always have to work on ourselves anyway. It's an unwritten rule. A lot of people forget, why are we even here? We are here to interact, and we are here to figure out where we came from and why we're here, like how we got here, who created us, how we got created, these things, where we come from. This is the ultimate quest. All right, that's what all the lore is about. Because remember, this is a video game. I know I might lose a couple people here, but when I say it's a video game, you only get one spawn though. So you got to make good choices. Because if you get wasted, that's it. Sometimes if you go to jail, you can get out. Just like Morrowind, you could go to jail and get out. You gotta do some time though. So, like I said, I was talking about this earlier, how video games are becoming more and more like life. And then somebody was trying to argue with me, no, video games, people are trying to go act them out in life. I'm like, no, they might be fantasizing about if life was like that, but that's why video games are closer to life now. So you can feel like you're in it. That's why they have jobs and you got to get money and you got to do all these different things to maintain your character and your guilds and your clans or whatever, just like in real life. You got to do that with your business. That's like your guild. And then your family's like your clan. And you got, all these different mechanics in life. You got boss levels and you got grunt levels. You got all these different levels, and every year you gain a level. But how much experience did you get? Because the experience you pick up between each level determines how powerful you are at the next. When you get to level 83, will you even be able to walk? Most people have problems with their strength and their dexterity. And then their mental, that's their intelligence starts to drop. Different diseases like Alzheimer's and whatnot. We have to take these things into consideration. Remember, if you watched any of my episodes, the ones before we went live, from all those years ago, we're already in the rabbit hole. You guys got to get caught up. Because remember, this is the Matrix. I know, I might lose some people with that one. The whole blue pill versus red pill came from the Matrix. Come on. Come on. Do you want to stay in La La Land or do you want to wake up?
Because you can stay in Clownland all day. Clownland, wee, yay!
Or you can come to real life and things will be a lot different over here.
Either way, you got to choose. I already made my choice. I can't go back. I mean, what? I could probably be more like a Morpheus. Maybe I am the one. Who knows? But life, life is something that we can't determine. It's something that we choose because you could opt out. It's not the best idea. I definitely wouldn't advise it. I would tell you to do something as simple as kick it, chill, enjoy the fruits of your labor. See, we just chilling. There ain't nothing wrong with chilling. You ain't gotta clown all the time and be rude and mean and hyped up and burn all this extra energy. We could just relax. We can just store and reserve our energy, redirect it, and transfer our energy to give energy to those that don't have none. Because there's a lot of people that need energy, not just any energy, good energy. Yes, this is the good energy conversation. So, AI, you can clip this right here. Remember that. The good energy conversation. We're going to start off with self love. Fine. Why is self love so important? Why? Because you need to replenish your own energies. Fine. Sure. But it can go too far where you have an abundance of energy and now it's spilling over in negative ways on other people. You don't have the energy. You need to do self love. You haven't given yourself the self love. And you start to project because you think you are fully healed. It's called pride. The pride will eat away during your self love and self healing journey. And you'll forget how to even be loved and how to give love. So then at that point, you're just being selfish. Oh, I'm gonna lose some people with that one. And that was the selfish clip. All right, fine. That was the self love, selfishness, self. Ooh, me, yada, blah, blah, whoop de wop. All right, so next part. Now that we're past self love, or do we need to go back to self love? All right, good. So now that we're past self love, loving other people, how is this possible? How is this possible when all you know is loving yourself? Ah, I know. I'm gonna lose some people. My bad. Not trying to hurt no feelings. Not trying to hurt no feelings. Self love is important though, but I ain't trying to hurt no feelings because self love turns into selfishness once you forget how to love others because you forget how to receive love from others. Ooh, why? Because you only need you now, right? Uh, I'm hurting people with this one. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. Self love. Do we still need to keep touching self love? Ooh, I lost somebody with self love. They didn't like that. Sorry. Sorry. So, moving forward, that's why I emphasize on loving others. How do you love somebody else? Well, if you have true self love, which is what we have to explain, because you have to love others the way you love yourself. So, if you have true self love, then you are willing to sacrifice what you love for somebody else. Because if you love yourself so much that if somebody else life was on the line, even if you didn't know them, you wouldn't want them to sacrifice themselves because you have found so much fulfillment in your life that you could sacrifice it for somebody else to figure out what that is. Woo! Woo! I'm telling you, you got self love, true self love, then you already ready to leave this earth, but not for no reason. True self love. You ready to give your life for somebody that needs a life given. Even though Jesus gave his life for your sins, you can give your life for your friends. Ooh, wee! Even if they're not your friend. Frenemies, enemies, all of them. Bend the knee. Because if you are the master, you don't have a problem serving because you know what it's like. To be served. You know what it's like to be served. So you don't have no problem serving because what is a master of? What are you a master of? What are you a master of? Go ahead, clip this one. The master. What are you a master of? That's the question. The answer is you are a master of yourself once you have true self love. Once you have accomplished self love, everything for you has already been figured out. There is no holding back from the people that need from you. That goes into self love, mastery, mastery of the self. Know thyself. If you don't know you, who do you know? All right, click that one right here. Look, if you don't know you, who do you know? Because you ain't all up inside nobody else, you all up inside you. So tell me how, if you don't know yourself, how do you know anybody? I know myself. That's why I know somebody. And somebody could vouch for me. I could vouch for me. And then God could vouch for me. And then Jesus could vouch for me. That's 3 people. That's a solid case right there. I ain't all the way perfect. I didn't messed up. We all messed up. He who is without sin cast the first stone. I will not reveal all my sins because I don't need to. Not to y'all. I already revealed my sins to him. He knows them. He's seen them. And I apologize for them. There's certain ones I haven't done again. There's certain ones I'm trying to get over now. But then some of these, I don't even know. I'm not a drunkard, but I'll drink. I smoke. I like to smoke, right? But it doesn't say thou shalt not smoke weed. You don't say that. So I'm not even gonna take that. You feel me? It doesn't say thou shalt not drink. It don't say that. So I'm not gonna take that either. But it does tell me not to do certain things. See, I'm losing people. But it's okay. All right, Stormy, when you truly understand that, here, let me pull that up real quick. We'll put that up on the board. Because don't get me wrong, if you go that way, it can go south a little bit. Because people will try to take it out of context. Shout out to Stormy. When you truly understand that everyone and everything you see is you, of the same source as you, it is easy to give love. Interesting, interesting. There is nothing wrong with that. That does hold weight. But I would say understanding everyone and everything you see is you. I don't know if everything and everyone is me specifically. Like if I say, I think, therefore I am, right? I'm thinking, therefore I am. I'm not you're thinking, therefore you are, because that would you be thinking, I'm thinking, therefore I am. So I can't think, therefore I am for you. I know that's crazy, but clip that because that is the I am analogy. You have to really eat that one up on there. So that's only that part. And of the same source, yes, of the same source, I can go there because we all have the same chemical makeup. When I say that, some chemicals may differ between each individual, but we have the same basic soup, like chili. Chili, for example. Chili is chili. You know, no matter how chili tastes or how it looks, it's still chili. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So the source I could go with that one. But once you understand, yes, we can say that it's easier to give love once you understand that we are all from the same source and we are all a part of the greater uh, togetherness that love is itself. But that would end up going on some deeper, like rabbit hole on it. But we'll get back to we'll get back to the main point, which is how we can build that bridge of community. So once we love ourselves, that puts us in a better position to love other people. Now, we went over true self love, we went over the self love in the modern, but we'll go over the loving others now that we establish what true self love is. So, when you're loving others, you're expressing true self love, that sacrificial self. I know it sounds cliche, but kindness is weakness and all these things. But guess what? We have to be weak of heart when we deal with other people. Because if we're being hard of heart, strong of heart, we're not giving them their due diligence. That's where prejudice will breed from. And prejudice is the same thing as racism and all these other things. That's what prejudice is. It encompasses all of those things because you're being prejudiced. Whether it's being racist or sexist or whatever, that's still prejudice or prejudicatory, whatever you want to call that word. English, right? American English. But welcome up. We'll say back to the loving others because we have to express true self love when we bring in other people. Um, if they have true self love, then when you guys work together, it's going to be all love. Now, this all encompassing love, it will spread. That means two people come together working, the third person will come in, hey, what are you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. And they'll start hanging out. Then the fourth person, fifth person, now you have a group. Groups make movements. Groups can move. But we have to have that self love, that true self love, so that way we can express that sacrifice of self. The true self love is going to be a sacrificial thing. And once we can say, hey, I'm complete in my life, I don't need anything else. What do you need? That completeness. It's very hard to find. A lot of people they don't want to say they have enough because now there's no unfinished business. Now they have time to sacrifice and to give to other people and be there for other people. And a lot of people are afraid of being there for other people because they feel like they're going to be taken for granted. There's not going to be any gratitude and all these other things. But that's where you have to get that glory from God. You have to get that gratitude from God. Exactly. On a quantum level, we are the same. When we have our makeup of our actual, what our cells are created from and things like that. So um, the amount of cells and the amount of atoms and things like that depends on each person because the bigger you are, the more you got. That's just the way it is. Um, so when we bring back to the love in other people and the self love, we have to remember two vital pieces of information: charity, okay, and grace. Without grace and without charity, love does not work, because now you have to start getting into, I'm not seeking anything from you. I'm helping you just to help you. That's where out of the goodness of my heart comes from. See, this part is heavy. A lot of people are afraid of the goodness of their own heart. They try to push it down because every time they show kindness, they're expecting a reward. Because some people are raised on, okay, don't shoot me for this. They're raised on positive reinforcement, that pat on the back, that good job, that good boy, that, oh, you're such a good this, or, oh, that was amazing. They're used to that. So they always try to do better and keep getting better and do good and do good. And after a while, the praises stop. So they start to get resentful. And then there's those people that have the negative reinforcement where they're getting smacked around all the time, even when they're doing good. Or they don't do the best, so they get chastised for that. Or they'll do mediocre and get chastised for that. Or they'll do something bad and get chastised for that. And then there's the side where you do bad and you get rewarded for it. I know some parents are sick. Oh, yeah, oh, you're getting bad grades? Don't worry about it. Let me get you some McDonald's. Or, those teachers are stupid. You don't need school. They tell you stuff like that. Or those other parents that'll be like, oh, oh, um, you'll fail at something that you were really trying to be good at, and they'll be like, oh, um, yeah, don't worry about it. There's plenty of other things you can do. You know what I mean? It's like they are trying to get you to become numb to failure or get used to failing or redirect your attention to something else so you can uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Avoid the emotional, so they can avoid your emotional reaction. That's what they're trying to do. All right? Instead of embracing that you feel bad because you didn't do so good. You know what I mean? Um, each each parent and each child is different. And not always the parent matches up with the child what they need. And it's not hard to say there's levels to it and there is nuance. It's not hard to say that. What's hard to say is that there is a fix all or a quick fix for it. Because without the parent taking the time to learning the child, they have to take the time to learning. Because without the time to learning the child, the disconnect will get bigger. And then the child will start to exhibit rebellion, um, and they'll do it in the most clever way because they're not dumb. They're just not feeling like there's any support. See, there's so many different ways to be hurt and to be in the negative child category. But the positive reinforced child, that's the child that will have pride and that will seek everybody's approval and will seek everybody's attention and will try to get the reassurance that what they're doing is good. And that's where they'll start to be eaten up by pride. Pride will take root in their heart. So we have to kick back sometimes. But we'll bring it back to loving others. Once you take the time to learn somebody, it's easier to help provide what they need. Because remember, we have to give them grace and charity. So everything we do for them, all the time we spend, every interaction has to be from the goodness of from our heart and not expect anything from them. Because at the end of the day, if you really love somebody, love is, I'll start with the nice stuff first. Because I might get beat up for this. Okay? So love is charity, grace, forgiveness, and mercy. I know. We get beat up for that one. It's cool. It's cool. Go ahead. Shoot the shot. Hands up. Firing line ready. Ooh. He's done. He is done. But this is love. So if you have those things for other people, it speaks for itself. That means you're giving them charity, and if they do you wrong, you forgive them, you give them the mercy. The mercy is you're not trying to hurt them, you're not trying to seek revenge or anything. That's the mercy. And the forgiveness is I'm not bringing it up no more, right? Just don't bring it up. You don't have to be around them. You don't have to stay friends with them. I know. Cool. Family break our hearts all the time. But what we gonna do? We're gonna love them anyway. That's what we're supposed to do. Yeah, whatever. It hurts. I'ma cry. Whatever. But still, who the hell am I? I'm not God. And neither are they. So why am I giving them so much power? Because I don't have any power over them. How much power do I got over anybody else? As much power as they give me. There's a way to force power, yeah, sure, but we're not doing that because that's not a part of loving others. And it brings us to a point of virtue, which is what all of this encompasses. Virtue is something that are the positive values that are opposite from sin. And I bet some people might come in a little bit because all the other panels are going to start shutting down around 12 or whatever time. And for me, I'm tired as hell. Where's Mr. Chang? Where is Mr. Chang? Mr. Chang, where are you at? That's what we gonna do. We gonna turn up. But we're gonna do it in a nice way. Do it in a real nice way. So, I don't know. Tonight's a pretty good night. I'm just chilling. I like hanging out with you, Stormy. You're pretty cool. I like how you type to me. We chat. It's cool. More people will come. It'll be fine, and then you'll get to yell at them. I'm just playing. But right now it's like I'm the most hated panelist. I really am. You see me out there? They do not like me. Why don't they like me, Stormy? Why don't they like me? What did I do? Did I hurt somebody's feelings? Somebody got mad at me. He said, "Don't go to his channel." Oh man, it's gonna be fun though. It's gonna be fun. All right, let's see. Let's see if we got anything fun on here. I'm gonna scroll through my YouTube. Sometimes some stuff be popping up on here. I don't know. Don't judge me. Hmm, let's see. Oh, okay, okay. This should be interesting. I think it's AI though. Oh, wait, no, this is AI, but I don't know. I think it'd be kind of funny to watch. What will be good? Oh, look at the little tiny bite. Yeah, that was interesting last time. That was real interesting last time. I'm over here trying to find trying to find something good. They want to talk about ice walls over here. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about some ice walls. I might be a little out of my league on that one. The ice walls. I don't know if I'm touching that. Let's see. Those robot fights were pretty fun. Oh wow. This is what we'll watch. we we gonna watch these fools slap each other. We just gonna watch these fools slap each other. How does that sound? Sounds fun. Nice. Got me on CTs. That's what's up. I like CT. He's cool. I feel like I'm a normal person with normal person ideology because I'm thinking like if it was just me and I was by myself, how would I act? What would I want done? And all I have is women in my society and like gay people in my society and like a bunch of dudes I'm not gonna get along with. I started thinking about it, and well, here we are.
What is going through Cody Vallo's head?
All right. I don't know. We can hear that, right? You guys can hear that? All right, awesome. But anytime you want to ask me a question, or if you want to talk about anything specific, just let me know. I will drill in my head to continue looking and looking and looking at the chat because I'm not used to it yet. I'm still teaching myself how to be a producer, but I need to grab something real quick. Hold on. You should be able to hear me better now. Let me hit play on this.
Regret. It's like, what am I doing here? Why did I sign up for this? Because the Kraken is about to get a good cracking from Bakame Lala. I think I said.
All right, we got to slow this down a little bit. We definitely got to slow this down because I'm finna watch this. I'm about to watch this. Hold on. All right. Let's slow this down. Probably put that at like 95 because I want to watch him slap the shit out of him.
Correct. You did. Wow.
You need to hold this position, okay?
Toto is a mountain of a man.
Right hand on three.
NFL player that we have had in Power Slap. They have 3 catchers for the big boys.
That's your measure.
Get your measure. Are you ready? Bro, your face is about to come off. Your face. It's about to come off. Are you ready for this, Stormy? Are you ready? Because their faces are about to get slapped to the floor.
350 pounds of muscle. Here we go.
Ew. Slap the shit out that dude. Look at him. Where he go? Where did he go, Stormy? Where is the dude? He was standing there a moment ago. Where is he? Big old fat guy. You remember him? Where he go? Dude. Where did he go? He's gone. He's petite. He's gone. Benito. Salam sauce. Let's see if he stands up. His legs. Look at his legs. His legs. He took his legs. Boom. He took his legs. Stormy, he took his legs. His feet. All you see is shoes pointed up at the sky. Dude thinks he's still standing there. Okay. He realized he was gone. He realized he was somewhere else. Look, his body went limp. He was like, oh shit. I ain't hear no more. Did that guy just unalive? What? Look at his face. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was crazy. No way. No way. That dude, is he okay? What? Yeah.
With respect, Bakamelelo has more of an athletic body type. Played football, as we know.
Stormy. What? Do you see his hand went invisible? Look, his hand went through dude's body. It didn't even hit him yet. Do you see? I picked the perfect shot. I picked the perfect shot. Look, this is the perfect shot. Go ahead, clip this AI. The perfect shot. Dude, his hand is already through dude's face. And the camera couldn't even catch how his arm was already through homeboy's body before his body could react. This dude, like, if there was a soul to leave a body, it's gone. And that's no pun intended, no homo. Dude's soul left his body in a new kind of way. I didn't even know this was possible. Clip that one. The soul left dude's body in a new kind of way. We're going to watch the rest of this hand unleash. Matter of fact, we're going to slow it down so we can watch the rest of the hand smack. Boo! His hand was already through dude's body. That's crazy. He's gone. There's nothing left.
Good enough.
Look at him. He was like, what? He's like, you know what? These problems, man.
Please whole life.
Woo.
You see.
Dude was thinking, why did I do this? And then this is when he went, I'm still standing. I know it. Let me just reach out for the podium.
The size and the speed.
And that's where the podium wasn't there. I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get hit like that. I don't want to get hit like that. I don't got what it takes to go over there and get smacked by that dude. I'm sorry, bro. So I'm not making fun of you, but dang, that is wild. Now let's go ahead and move forward to the next slap because that game's over. I'm sorry, bro. It's over.
Power with the technique.
Striking first, which hand and on what count?
Right on 3.
Yeah.
Jump too far.
Let's send it to.
He's still alive. All right, awesome. Ooh, he's still standing up. That's scary. Now that's scary. Dude ate that. That was scary, bro. All right. You better hope he misses.
Fair blow.
Woo. Ooh. Damn. Slap the dust off his face.
Find your feet. You're drunk right now, so you need to listen to me. Find your fucking feet. Deep breaths and push through him. Go up there. Push through him.
Take this one.
All right. Here's your chance.
What count? What hand?
All right. So, any bets on the table? Anybody? Y'all think he gonna get him? He took that one. He said, "You're a little drunk right now."
What count?
Right on 3.
Right on 3. Fighter set. Right on 3. 1, 2.
All right. Do you think he's gonna fall? His head kind of bounced a little bit.
Easy.
Fair blow.
We're here all day. We're here all day.
Oh, damn. Damn. Oh, man. He gonna have to take another one. He gonna have to take another one.
Big one right here, all right, Dad? Put him to sleep. He looked nervous on that last one. He looks more nervous right now. Let's go.
Yeah, he about to go night-night.
So are you set in your position here? Which hand and what count?
Watch your feet, Dad, okay?
And 3.
Right on 3.
Deep breaths.
Right on 3.
All right, who thinks he's going night-night?
1,
2.
2.
Who thinks he's going night-night? Damn, he's still standing up. Is he gonna fall?
Beautiful.
Find your
Beautiful,
feet.
man.
Deep breaths.
You don't know where he's at, Dan. You don't
Deep
know where
breaths.
he's at.
4, 5, 6. Stop. Good. Fighter's clear.
Woo! He took another one. Ah, all right. He gonna have to end this. He gonna have to end this. I ain't taking too many of these, bro. Like, oh no, hell nah. Look at it. Look at it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Look at it, bro. His whole body was just like, okay, do we have a head? Do we have a head? And then his legs were like, I think we have some hips. Watch.
Holy fucking shit.
Damn.
Hey, deep breaths. Just deep breaths. You're eating that shit like no other. Your last slap was perfect.
Woo.
It's clean. Just find your feet. Find
Cheers
your
to
feet.
that guy.
Think about your feet.
He took 2. That was 3, actually. Oh, that was 3?
Sir, you're in the
Hold
box
on.
here.
I'm
Where you
tripping.
need to be. Are you set? Stand where you want to be. Which hand? What count?
Right on 3.
Right on 3. Fighter set. Right on 3.
Oh, yeah,
1,
no, that was the second one.
2.
Easy. Easy.
Nope.
I don't know. I think it was a flinch. I don't know. I think it was a flinch. He looked like he hurt his hand.
Here. Good. Good. Fair.
Yeah, look at him. He's like, damn. I don't know if I'm gonna take this one. You look at him. You look at him. He is like, he's trying to get his head together. This little dude is big.
Fair. Just be careful.
He said, be careful. Oh, be careful. Oh, man.
Okay. Get some time. We're gonna go give you a stick right
Listen, you got one more. You gotta really eat this, motherfucker. I know it's gonna be hard.
This is so funny. He's like, I know this is gonna be hard. Like, you gotta eat this one, Bubba. Yo, this is crazy. Yo, this is crazy. Oh man, he is pep talking homie, bro. Look, you know what? Coach of the fucking year. Coach of the year. All right, everybody, hey, cheers to the coach. He's like, man, this is the last one because they only do 3 rounds. The last one, all you gotta do is stand up and then slap him. That's that. We're gonna see what happens.
But you gotta eat this, dude.
But you gotta eat this, dude. He's like, okay. He doesn't know where he's at right now, guys. If he stays alive after this, hey, that's a real man right there.
It's gonna be hard. Yeah. I know. Deep breath.
He said, it's gonna be hard. He said, I know, man. I know, coach. He's like, Rocky, you can do it. He's like, nah, man. Nah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Oh, man. Rocky moment.
Press. All right, come on. Try not to take too much. Go, boss.
Yes, sir. Time. Sir, we're just going to have the doctors look at you real quick. Come here.
Hey, buddy. Hey, you see where I am?
Yeah, have the doctors look at that man real
I
quick.
don't want him getting hit.
That's all.
I don't want you getting hit. Okay?
Yeah, stop that. We were all looking like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, dude, I think I was like, bro, I don't know if he's gonna stay alive.
Danny definitely overpowered Jonathan in this one, and Jonathan actually got weaker with each slap, while Danny did not seem phased. And in the end, the doctor felt like Jonathan had taken too much damage, and he called the fight. We take fighter safety very serious, so I think this was the right decision.
Yeah.
Winner by doctor stoppage, Daniel.
I do take pride in the fact that I won. My next opponent should definitely be a fight coming clear.
You're leading with the pumps. There we go, Red.
Don't do.
One, Red, right on three. Right on three. You must measure.
Daniel.
Here we go. Right past.
Peace. He's nervous, Dan.
1, 2.
He flinched. I'm calling it. I'm calling the flinch. And if he don't get the flinch and get slapped twice for that, I don't know. This game might be rigged.
That's light work. Light work, Dan. Light work.
That's a flinch.
Light work, Dan. Light work, Dan.
That guy's got a strong neck. Look at that thing. Look at that. It's right there across his left shoulder. That would be on the right side of the screen. That whole muscle right there is flexed out. You can see all the muscles in his neck right there, holding his head onto his body.
Might even call his ass for a club. Sorry, ass hit.
Foul clubbing. There we go, Red.
Don't do.
1 point Red clubbing. 1 point Red clubbing. 1 point Red clubbing.
Hit him with the palm.
You're leading with the palm. Okay, good. All right, here we go, Red.
See if he squeals like a mirror.
I know. I think Big Boy's going
Let's
down.
go, bud.
Okay. Hey. Blue.
Right on 3.
Right on 3. Blue is elected right on 3. You must measure. 1, 2.
Sleep! Let's go, Dan! Let's go, Dan!
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You good? Walk to me.
He doesn't want to be here.
Walk this way. You good? That's it.
You want another one, buddy?
What is this?
There we go.
And put that thing away, bro. What the hell's going on here?
The warrior spirit of his people. The Maori warriors from New Zealand.
Big boys are coming
hoping
out.
to draw energy from his ancestors
What
He
hand
will
and what
be
count we
receiving
decide.
first as the
Right
South
on three.
African
Stand by. Stand by.
delivers
You're good here. Set.
the first
Right on
slap
three.
of our
Right on
first
three.
super heavyweight match of the night. Our only
Oh, snap.
super heavyweight
You
match.
would not think that these two were good friends.
Look at the Samoan dude. He's calling on his ancestors right now. Look at him. Look at the look in his eye. He said, "I'm gonna eat this and I'm gonna break you." Look, he's imagining it all right now.
One. Two.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, he did a nice job. He's shaking that one off.
Manu's like, come on, buddy. Is that the best you got? Is that it, really?
Yeah.
Shit, Manu.
Best man eating.
Eat that shit. Yeah. Eat that shit, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Do your thing.
By the way, we were talking about the strength, his football background.
He can't
He was a
handle you, bro.
defensive lineman at
He can't
Utah,
fucking
played
hang
the
with you, bro. You're a
XFL,
beast.
was in
Let's go,
several
Manu.
NFL camps. He benches 550 pounds. He squats 700, does McKinney Manu.
Wow. Oh man, this is funny. This
That's
is hilarious. Are you
And,
ready? Is he
by the
gonna run
way,
into it?
All the phones are out.
No, he's imagining it.
Everybody-
He's trying to one hit this.
Everybody waiting for something special to happen. Van Heerden, though, has the
All
highest
right.
neck force on
Let's
the
see who
card.
got the stronger neck.
Translation, he can eat slap.
He got a lot. He got a lot of weight behind that thing. I'm saying, man, you about to hurt somebody. Oh man, he about to hurt somebody. Ah, they took it down. They shut us down.
Right on.
They shut us down. They shut us down. Dang.
Three.
Let's see if he can.
We'll take it down. Dang.